Hello my lovers, welcome to Cutter's Choice Homebrew at the Flag and Fez Brewery, and I've got a bit of news. I'm going to do a kit, but it's not the usual kit, it's an all grain kit. So this is from the Malt Miller. Between Christmas and New Year I went up to Bristol and I met up with Jack Forsey, and he's got some magic taps in his kitchen, and one of them dispensed some Red Brick Rye, and it was bloody fantastic. So I thought I've got to make this because it was really good. So anyway, some of the ingredients I already had, so like the pale malt and the roasted barley. Cara Red and Rye malt were the other two grains that I didn't have, and I didn't have all of the hops. But so I actually had a quick look at it, buying the individual ingredients, and obviously I do 38 litres, 2 kegs at a time. So the recipe is for 19 litres, so I thought, right, I'll buy 2 kits. It comes to 24 quid, and by the time I put in all the ingredients that I needed, less the ones that I already had, I was at 21 quid. So I thought, well, I might as well just buy the 2 kits really, and ain't got to weigh it up or anything, just chuck it in. So anyway, it's all arrived. Here's the recipe. Let's see if you can see it. I'll put the recipe down below. Don't know how much of that you're going to see. So, but very quickly, this is for 19 litres, 2.7 kilos of pale malt, 500 grams of Cara Red, 700 grams of rye malt, 60 grams of roasted barley, and then you got a 75-minute boil, 16 grams of Columbus, all of the boil, 10 grams of Chinook at 10 minutes, 5 grams of Cascade at 5 minutes, 7 grams of Chinook and 15 grams of Cascade at flame out, and then 100 grams of Chinook dry hopped for 4 days. So yeast, that's not included in the price of the kit actually. It's an extra £2.75 or something like that. Excuse me, they say to use US 05 for Nottingham. Alright, so we've got an original gravity of 1048, final gravity of 1011, ABV of 5%, and that is that. Now, the problem was I programmed it all into Brewfather, the app that I use, and it came out at 5.9%. Oh, bloody hell. As you know, I prefer my beers around 4% so I can have a few. Now, so what Malt Miller uses a mash efficiency target to work out their grain recipes. They're all grain recipes, I don't know. But I target 85%, and the last brew I did, I've got 88%. So that would actually end up at over 6%. So the solution has been to do 1 kit, but to 25 litres, and that comes out at 4.3%. But it does create another problem, because only 19 litres in a keg, so I've got 6 litres spare, and I'm just so against, well, not against, but I just don't want to bottle beer anymore. Absolutely just don't want to do it. So the answer was in this little beauty that I actually got to put some of Brandon's cider in, but he actually filled up one of my 19 litre kegs, so this was going to spare. So this is 6 litres, 19 in 6, perfect. So that is going to be tomorrow's brew. So I'll put some footage up of that, and I'm going to make this a grain to glass so we can have a taster of Malt Miller's all grain kit of the Red Brick Rye, and apparently the recipe was supplied by Red Brick Brewery. So but it was a cracking beer at Jack's, and it was so good I had to make one. And so that's it. So coming up is the footage. Okay, see you later. So already weighed up all the grain. In it goes. Cut the bag open, chuck it in. Job done. The only thing I'm going to add to that is 80 gram of oat husk for a looser mash through the herms. And that's the way that done. So disaster struck already. The PT100 is in, and it's not showing up on there. That means it's not connected. So what I've done in the meantime is I've connected the element from the herms into the HLT control box, and I'm going to switch it on and off with that thermometer in there, and you can see I'm not doing a very good job already, so I'm trying to keep it at 65. So there's nothing else I can do. I can't swap the leads over on the PT100 because one's a 2-pin and the other's a 3 or 4 pin, so that ain't gonna work. So anyway, disaster, gonna have to order a new one onto eBay. Right, so just weighing up the hop additions. So the first one that's going in is 16 grams of Columbus. So all I've done is open the pack, and let's see what they've weighed. They've actually weighed, you see that, 17.8. Very good, Mr. Malt Miller. Right, so because the PT100 has gone kaput, I've decided to batch sparge. So that's 21 litres of water gone over for, I'm going to soak that for 15 minutes and then I'll get that over to the boiler. And look, the dreaded hop spiders come out. There's an awful lot of hops in there, so it's better than the big bag. So there we go, and it's already steaming up in here. Let's get the fan going. Right, catch you later. Right, first lot of hops. That's 16 grams of Columbus, I think that was, and the timer started. So I'm just dumping this onto the yeast cake from the last batch of beer. So I just didn't be bothered to make a starter of a new batch. 001. WLP 001 this is. There she is, all ducked up. So it's just the mammoth cleanup now. Right, next is the tasting, I guess. See you all then. Right then, it's 2 weeks since brew day. Kegged the beer yesterday and left it on 30 psi overnight, and today dropped it down to 10 psi, and I've just poured myself a little sample. So anyway, before we get to the beer, brew day, I didn't give you any figures on brew day. So I've done the 75-minute boil as as it was in the recipe, but that left me about 2 litres short, but also it came out at 1042 instead of 1039, and so that was going to come out at some high, can't remember what it was now, but high ABV. So on Brewfather, went on there on the tools bit and worked out how much more water to put in to bring it down to 1039, which was the target, and so basically it was just shy of 2 litres, so that gave me 25 litres fermenting volume. 1039, and dropping it on that yeast cake, it was always going to be it was always going to ferment a bit more than was expected, so it actually ended up at 1004, so still ended up with a 4.6% beer, but yeah, 1004. So excuse me, I had a pint of it just now, and yes, it has left the palate a little bit dry, so gotta have another one then to wet the whistle. So anyway, let's have a look at the beer. So got a nice red colour to it. So obviously there's only kegged yesterday, so it's not clear. It's never going to be clear. It will clear up eventually, but you know, just from yesterday, there we are. So that's that. Nice. The head is going a little bit, but it's sort of like quite tight bubbles, slightly off white. You can't see it, can you? Hang on. There we are. Cut my head off. Look like lurch. Won't be the first time I've been called that. So, on the nose, can't really pick up much, to be honest, but I think you get a bit of the hoppiness, but it's all in the flavour, really. It's you get the Chinook, and don't forget 100 grams of Chinook went in for the last 4 days. Now, to be honest, I put them in a bag. They were pellet hops, and I put them in a bag. I wish I hadn't, really, but my thoughts were I was going to get pellet hop, yeah, bits of pellet going into me kegerator, me kegs, so didn't really want that. So that looks awful, doesn't it? Let's go there. So and anyway, get a nice bit of spiciness from the rye, and a good Chinook flavour, to be honest, and it is very palatable. It's very easy drinking. Considering the problems I had, like keeping the mash temperature up, it's actually come out all right. So I wouldn't put, I think when I was putting the thermometer into the mash itself, I was only on 63, so yeah, 63 centigrade, so I wouldn't put that down, wouldn't put the 1004 down to the lower mash temperature, really. It was just the yeast was well over pitch because I put it straight on top of the previous beer, which was an American porter. So but yeah, overall I'll tell you, it's a bloody lovely beer. So don't bag your pellet hops when you dry hop with them, but definitely give the kit a go. It's well worth it. Absolutely brilliant beer. So that is it. That's it from me, and I'll look forward to seeing you the last one. So thanks for watching, and see you soon. Cheers, my dears.